Hello, 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 everybody. Today, this will be airing on March 9th, 2022. It's a fabulous day. You know why? Because my 40th birthday is tomorrow on March 10th. Woohoo! Which is why we scheduled this live strategically for that purpose. This is Jennifer Hart Connected, and I am Jennifer Hart, if you did not figure that out. And today we will be meeting with Danie C. Muniz about a solar return chart, which is part of your birth chart. And we'll get more into that when she comes on. I'm super excited to have her. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Jennifer Hart, and I call myself a soul guide and connector. I basically connect people that are seeking their spiritual path or growth and development. Maybe you're questioning what the heck is going on in your life. Things are starting to change, shift, and you are looking for people, resources, information, and events to connect with people that are on the same path as you for support, for guidance, for fun. Most of all, fun. And yeah, the biggest piece is support. So that's what I'm here to do. That's my mission in the world. Let me tell you a little bit about Danie. And I'm super excited. So today what we're going to do is we are going to go over my solar return, and she'll explain what a solar return is. I've had her on previously. It was freaking awesome. And you can, I'll link the video so that you can find her other video and find out what a birth chart is. But before I get too ahead of myself here, let me tell you a little bit about Danie. So she's appeared on national television on American Idol and The Voice. Super cool. She's worked with organizations like the Walt Disney Company, Wells Fargo, and Starbucks, and is a consultant for Bob Proctor and a leadership trainer for Tupperware and Mary Kay. She has worked with thousands of clients for almost 20 years as a leadership coach and trainer. Developing the leaders of the future in corporate and the entrepreneurial space is her passion. She brings a unique, holistic approach combining spirituality, that's my jam, astrology, also my jam, and science to get results for her clients that no one else can. She specializes in helping soul-based female entrepreneurs go from all over the place and in their own way to take their power back. As a spiritual designer, Danie is a leader in the field of personal leadership, breaking generational paradigms, and intuitive astrology. She resides in Texas with her family and Jake, the amazing pug, which he is so cute. I've seen him before. Let's bring Danie on. Woo-hoo.
Hey,
hi, Danie. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing great. How are you, Jen?
Oh my gosh, let me change this. Hold on. I'm new, so I got a new setup. So I'm like, everything's different. I am good. Today is a great day. And we are pre-recording this. So say hello. Anyways, we'll be monitoring the comments and happy to respond to everything. But if you make a comment and we don't acknowledge you live, that is why. It doesn't mean that we don't hear, see you, or feel you. We love you, and tell us where you're watching from. So this is like a part 2, basically. Let's give the history real quick. Okay. So Danie and I met through mutual friends, through like side jobs that we were doing. Mm-hmm. And we didn't actually meet through the job, but it's like the same job. Mm-hmm. And then you and I only connected like once or twice, and instantly she's like one of those people that when I connected with, I just felt like an instant soul bond. Like you just feel at home. Like that's the best way I could describe it. Like you feel so like, comfortable at home is like, that's the only way I can describe it. Mm-hmm. And we just were like, we need to do some stuff together. And I was like, I would love to have you on my show. So knowing that she's an intuitive astrologer, and I have always loved astrology, I had done some birth charting classes and tried to learn it. And I was like, forget this crap. Like it's way too much. It's a whole language in itself. It's not my path. I'm just going to find people to read charts for me. And Danie is amazing. So we came on live and she, let people know like what is a birth chart. We're not going to talk about a lot of that today because we've already done that. So I will post the video so that it's linked live in the blog. I'm going to put it in the blog so that it's all in one place. So you can check that out. And yeah, what is a birth chart? And so just in short, because we should talk about that, like your birth chart is where you go, you say what it is.
So your birth chart is where the planets were at the time that you were born. And so it tells us a lot about who we are and what we're here to do in this lifetime. So if you look at, or if you watch the one that we did with Jen, You'll hear all about Jen, know who she is,
Yep.
because we go into a lot of detail. And we just did the big three in your reading, right? We
Yeah.
talked about the sun,
Yeah.
moon, and rising sign.
That was like at 1/20th of like everything that you can decipher out of your birth chart.
Yeah.
And that doesn't change. Like your birth chart's always going to be the same. It's based off of where you were born and the time that you were born and the date that you were born. So that information does not change. However, a solar return, which we are going to review and talk about and educate on today, does change. So tell us about what a solar return is.
So a solar return is when the sun, your sun, where it was in the sky when you were born, returns to its same position when you were born. So right now, our sun is currently in sidereal astrology. It is in Aquarius. And so it's, moving along. And so when it gets to the particular degree that, when Jen was born, that is what's called the solar return. It's when it comes back to that same placement when you were born. It's also, your birthday. We instead of saying happy birthday, I tend to say happy solar return, because it's
Happy
when
solar return.
when your sun is coming back home, right? And so the really cool thing about a solar return is it allows us to kind of look ahead at the year. So this is where we get into predictive astrology, and we're able to kind of see what might be going on for you in this next year. And so solar return kind of gives us some of the insights of where your focus might be, where your energy is going to be for the year, great opportunities for personal development and growth. So because I'm like, and I know you are too, into personal development, this was like a, yes, I need to know what's going on so I can make sure I'm riding that wave of energy that is before me. It's also really good if you're like, there's things you want to do, there's changes you want to make, and you're like, I'm not sure when to do this, or I'm not sure if this is the time or the year. This is what a solar return can do for you. It can help you kind of look at where you're going and where you're at, and say like, okay, now's the time to do this thing I've been waiting to do, or now it's finally here. So I'm excited to get it to your solar return, because there's some really good stuff in here.
I'm excited too. Like the timing of this just worked out so perfect, because my birthday is coming up. So I was like, oh, this is the perfect time, because we'd already been talking about this. So one thing I want to mention is that Danie put together a super awesome package last time that she came on and did the birth chart reading. And it includes a birth chart reading and the solar return for someone, right?
It does.
Plus a couple other things. So let's talk about that real quick, because that package is still available with a bomb ass discount. I wish like it could put the little like bleep. Sorry about that. Yeah.
We should have just bleeped.
So please tell them about this bomb package that you put together for the Jennifer Hart Connected viewers.
Yeah, so this is a really cool package, because in it you're going to get to get a natal chart reading. So we're actually going into detail of all the planets, where all the planets are at the time that you were born. It's a 90-minute reading, and we go into detail. Let me tell you, we cover your big three, and then we go over a whole lot more. Plus you get a handwritten report by me. It's usually around 30 plus pages, depending on what's going on in your chart, that is written just for you. So it's very personalized. It's what I pride myself on. You'll also get either a 2022 solar return reading, so what we're going to do right now with Jen, or you can get a 2022 astrological reading, which just kind of gives you a forecast just in general for the year, some things to look out for. So there's a little bit of a difference between the two, but if you like what we do with Jen here today, we can schedule this as well around your birthday. But I wanted to give that as an option to do your astrology forecast, just simply because if your birthday is like in December and you're like, I have to wait till December, Danie, like, no, you don't. You're also getting as two super special bonuses, which I absolutely love, and I think everybody should have every month, which is a lunar return reading. This is where the moon returns to its natal place, and it tells you where your emotional energy is going to be for the month. So you can get that for 3 months. And then you're also get a tarot reading with my love, who does shadow work tarot. And that is also a 45-minute session with him and me, where we'll kind of dive into what your current challenge is and how to get through that with divine guidance. So that is on Jennifer. You can get that super special link by either going, I'm sure you'll put it in the comments, right? Jen in the description here. But it's also thepeaceteacher.com/Jennifer Hart.
What? Oh, thank you for doing that for everybody.
Yeah,
And I know a couple people have already had their reading.
Yes.
So if anybody's had a reading that happens to be watching, please comment and share like what your biggest takeaways were. Because I mean, just getting my big three read on the interview, it was so mind blowing. Like it was crazy, spot on. And what's funny is like I said, like Danie and I haven't really known each other that long, and we've only just become like in conversation often and friends and supporters. And yeah, I mean, I love it. So it was really cool. Like it just goes to show the power of astrology. And I've always been super drawn to astrology. It's one of my favorite topics. And the planets really do make a difference. I remember when you were talking about I need to get the moon ones because
The Lunar Returns.
yeah, because one day I'll just be super low, like, oh my God, like everything sucks, like I'm not going anywhere in my life, blah, 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 like all like Debbie Downer. And then another day I'm like, the world is amazing, like, oh, I'm advancing so fast. And I'm like, okay, am I bipolar? Like, what's going on? So and you said that the planets change daily, which can affect based on where the planets are in your chart versus where they are going on. Like every person is affected differently because of that. So
absolutely, yeah. The moon is changing zodiac signs every 2 to 3 days. So our energy is like up and down, and then depending on us and who we are and how our own moon sign, right, and what's going on in our chart. Like I was telling, like when you say like, oh, I'm so like Debbie Downer days, you know, the moon is probably in certain houses and in a certain sign, and that can cause a mess. So when you know that, you kind of like, oh, okay, I know I got a couple of days, it's gonna pass, right?
It's like the validation of it just makes you aware, and then you can kind of step out of it. You should still feel it. You should still allow it to be, because you don't want to get stuck emotions. You want to have the experience. That's what we're here for. But knowing that, you go, okay, this too will pass. Like it's gonna move forward. So all right, so we should give something away today. This is totally last minute.
because it's your freaking birthday. Let's do it. I'm excited for that. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. I'm excited. I love giveaways. I love free stuff. What do you want to give away? It's your service.
Give away a solar return reading.
Okay. All right. Well, should they be able to pick? Because what if they were in December? Or do you is December still close enough that somebody could get a solar return for this year from
the last year?
From last year. Okay. All right, let's do a solar return then. Okay. So if you are watching this video, then what we did last time is I say we do that, like comment, and you'll have until, because this is not live, this is previously recorded in case you have not seen the ticker on the screen saying previously recorded. If you are watching this video, you have from the day that this is aired, which is going to be March 9th, 2022 at 9 a.m. until, let's give one whole day. Yeah, till March 10th, my actual birthday, at around 9 a.m. I'm not going to commit to a time because that's my birthday and I'm going to be traveling. So when I'm traveling in the car, I will make a list of every single person who says hashtag what I learned today is, and then write your breakaway, your take through, something that you learned. It could be something we've already talked about or something moving forward. So that is on the spot, free giveaway. Thank you, Danie, for that. The last person that won had an amazing reading, and I talked to them personally. They said they had a ton of it was a lot, and they even only doing the big three is a lot, and it was great information and spot on. So let's do it. Hashtag what I learned today, and then you drop your takeaway. You have until March 10th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll just put a time, but maybe it takes us a little longer.
Because Jen's going to be driving.
It's my birthday, and I don't want to commit to anything. That's why we're pre-recording stuff. All right. Let's dive in. So we've talked about a solar return, which is when the sun comes back to the position of your date of birth. And then it's only going to look at the next year until it comes again, because then you have a new solar return.
Correct.
Do you have capability to share the screen?
I'm sure I do. Let me try that.
I'm a visual person, so I'm like, don't just talk to me, like let me see it. Although I don't know how much people will be able to make sense of things, especially since you can't see the mouse, but That's okay.
I know, right? Okay, so let me share. It looks like I can share it. I just got to find the window that I want. I have too many windows. I never have
I hear you.
there we go. Windows. Okay, there we go.
I hear you.
I was like, there's so many options. I love StreamYard for that. They give you so many options. So you should be able to see it now. Is that correct?
Let me add it up. Yep,
Your
there
chart?
we are. Bam. Done.
Okay.
Oh, is your mouse? I could see your mouse.
You can see my mouse right here?
Yeah, look it. I can
Yay!
see it.
Okay, cool.
Great.
All right, awesome. I can't see
better.
it, but you could. I can't see it on the StreamYard feed, but as long as you can see it, that's all that matters.
Okay, I can see it.
Okay, so this is your actual chart at the time of your solar return. So I do want to make this quick point is that your solar return, like you were born March 10th. Can I say the year?
Yeah, I don't care. It's turning 40. It's 1982, people.
Okay,
turning 40.
perfect.
I'm proud of getting older, honestly. I get smarter. I'm wiser. I have more wisdom. Well, same thing, but because I'm old. That didn't sound very smart. Anyway, I can laugh at myself more. I know more of who I am. Like, I love getting old. I think we should embrace it. It's just like this mentality. We only have one life to live. Like, let's just live it up,
I'm 100% with you on that. And I think we get fonder with age. So 1982, happy and welcome to the 40s. Welcome to the 40 and over club.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah, so 1:28 a.m. is when you were born. So you were born in the middle of the night, and we can see this because your sun is right up. Your moon is right up here, which was up in the horizon, as we talked about on your birth chart reading.
Wait, real quick. I was born at 1:26. Sorry, did I give you the wrong time? Does it matter?
You just screwed everything up. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're fine.
That is why we don't multitask, people.
No, you're fine. You're fine. 2 minutes. It's not going to affect, especially on this particular chart. It's not going to affect it that much.
Okay.
Because if I was like on the cusp of something, then I would have been like, oh, let's redo this. But you're in a good position. 2 minutes.
And when you say I'm in a good position, you're looking at my chart, and things are pretty solid in where they are. Whereas sometimes they might be on the cusp of like two things, and that's where those 2 minutes could really count. So
so like twins, for example, that are born minutes apart. Like I did a reading for a friend of mine whose twins are born, I think they're 2 minutes apart. And so their charts are just a couple of degrees off on a couple of different things, but they're pretty much the same, which I think twin charts are so cool to look at, and see how they're expressed. It's just really beautiful to me. But yeah, 2 minutes can make a big difference depending on where certain things are. But for you, everything's pretty solid. There's nothing like on cusps of anything where I would be concerned. You're good. Okay. So I say this, that it was 1:26 a.m. On March 10th, because your solar return isn't exactly at the same time. A lot of people think it's like, oh, okay, so it's going to be March 10th at 1:26 a.m. again. No. We're going to look at first where you're located. So this is what I asked Jen, like, where are you going to be? where are you going to be? And she's going to be on the road, but we can get an idea of where she's going to be, right? Because some people travel for their birthdays, like they go out of the country or out of, the state. And so they might be in a completely different time zone or completely different area. Yeah. And so that will definitely shift. Like I've done solar returns, like pre-solar returns, where people are like, okay, I'm thinking about going here or here for my birthday. Like which one would be best? And it's like, oh, okay. So we look at both areas and say like, oh, this area is going to be best for you to go to, based on this of what we're looking at here from this chart. So it's why this is important to look at the place you're going to be. Second off, we then look at the degrees. So we didn't talk a lot about this in your solar return, but you're 25 degrees Aquarius. So when we start getting into return charts or transit charts, we're going to look at what degree it is, because we want it to come back to the same degree. So for you, you're 25 degrees Aquarius. So we're going to look when the sun hits 25 degrees Aquarius. So it actually does take place on March 10th at 7:30 a.m. For some people, when I do it, it could be a different day. It could be the day before or the day after. Again, this takes into account what is going on in our sky and how things are moving, because it's not like equal. The sun doesn't, it's not the same. There's parts where not the sun, but the earth, there's part where we're rotating faster, and there's parts where it's slower, depending on this elliptical that it's going around our sun, right? So this changes things. This is, again, why I use sidereal and not tropical astrology, but not to get into crazy stuff like that. So I'd want to give that straight up as an idea, so because people can sometimes get confused on that, but I thought it should be at this time. We look at the degree is what we're looking at here.
So what I learned right now is that the solar return depends on where you are on your actual birthday. So
on your actual birthday. So on the actual time of the sun coming into your degree.
Okay. And you said mine is at 7:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be at home sleeping still.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
But that's
so it is interesting. Yeah, very, very interesting. Like if you want to travel somewhere like on your birthday, like that, like I always ask people when I do solar returns, I'm like, okay, where are you going to be on your birthday? Are you going to be home, or, where are you going to be at? Because there's people who go to different places. So
now, could that change the trajectory of your year?
100%. I knew you were going to ask me that question. 100%. So if you choose to travel out of the country, let's say, because usually country or like major, like if you're going from East Coast to West Coast to East Coast or East Coast to West Coast, that is like, you can be a bigger a change. But when we're looking at like cities, local cities, not too much of a change. But if you're looking at like countries, whoo.
Well, yeah, like 1 year I was in India, so that's completely different, from my birthday. And yeah. Okay. So I just want to reiterate this. So like, if I were to, let's say I come visit you in Texas, so you would prepare my solar return chart, and I'm there in Texas, and then my whole year will be different?
100%.
Wow.
100%.
That's crazy. I still wrap my head around that, but
yeah. So it's so and when we get into this, you'll kind of see some of the things that we're looking at and why that is going to be important.
Okay.
And because couple of hours, right? We're Central Time and you're Pacific, so it's 2-hour difference. So the sun is going to be placed in a different house, which means there would be a different focus for you. And I want you to think of it this way. Every time you go outside and decide to go left instead of right, or decide to go right instead of left, you are changing the trajectory of something. Every single time you make it, this is our free will.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, that's good.
We have a choice. So by you choosing to come here is going to change something. There's going to be interactions. There's going to be conversations. There's going to be insights that you have that are different.
Got it.
Than you would have had you been at home.
Okay. And that makes perfect sense. So I want to chime in here and add. So I get a lot of intuitive guidance readings, coaching, all these different things. And the thing that I really... I make side note that I should write in my blog is like, when you get these readings, they are not set in stone. Like maybe some things like are in your, you say no. It just depends.
They are not set in stone. No, they are not. I 100% agree with you.
Like the day you die, is that set in stone? Like, or no, is that flexible too? This is where I'm like, I'm still like, I'm still learning about these things, right? Yeah. So from an astrology perspective,
right, and
it's not set in stone.
And I will say this, like, you're gonna make choices, right? Akashic Records, right? I know you're doing a reading. So whenever I'm doing an Akashic Record reading and people are asking me questions, I can tell you, hey, if you decide, like, if you want this and you're choosing to go through these are the steps that the guidance that you're receiving, this is the path. However, you could choose to turn left and change everything. And that is perfectly fine, because that is, like, we get into, was that meant to be? Was that actually the right path? Was that the foreseen path? Like, there's all those ideas around it. I firmly believe that we're set here. We have a goal, we have a mission, we have a purpose, but yet we have our own free will. Because I can tell you that there's people out there in this world, Jen, correct me if I'm wrong, But there are people out there in the world who are not following their mission, who are not following their purpose.
Yeah, no, I was one of them. But yes,
If
yeah.
me raise my hand here. Me too. If we guilty as charged. If we don't, like, we have that option. We come here with a purpose, with a mission, with a soul evolution we're here to receive. But we have our own damn free will to choose what we want to do.
Right.
So if you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it. So I can tell you all this stuff, but you can make a decision right now to say, like, you know what, Danie, I don't want that to be my year. And you can make another decision.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's okay. That's okay. Right, this is just information, right?
Total side tangent. Sorry. This is like a whole nother live in itself. And this always tends to happen. Yeah. Like we're like 20 conversations in one. I have a lot of information to share with people. That is part of what I'm here to do. So, absolutely. Okay. Don't let me get us off track again. I'll let you go forward with reading. So we're starting a solar return reading for myself. I put a little banner. I was super proud of myself. Enter to win a free solar return reading by Danie. And all you need to do is comment when you're watching this. Something I learned is what I learned, whatever. It doesn't have to be verbatim. Just put a hashtag and something you learned, and then you'll be entered to win a solar return reading.
Woo, woo. Look at you getting fancy over here.
I know.
All right. So let me break down this chart because this chart's a little bit different than the birth chart or natal chart that we looked at when we did your first reading. So this chart, the outside ring here, the orange little symbols, those are the transiting planets, which means those are the planets where they are in the sky at the time of your solar return. Okay. So that's where everybody's hanging out. The next ring is your zodiac signs. You guys should be familiar with that. And then the inner ring where all the blue guys are hanging out, the blue symbols, those are your natal planets. So these are the planets that where they were when you were born. And then we have our aspects as we had in the last one. Now, these aspects are also looking at your natal aspects as well as the transiting aspects, meaning how the transiting planets are communicating with your natal planets. So that's another thing to keep in mind here. So we can see your sun is the circle with the dot. We can see your sun with the circle and the dot in the natal chart or birth chart, and then here in the transit. So they are right hovering on top of each other, right? It's conjunct, what we would call conjunct here, which means your sun and your sun are in alignment, your natal sun and your transiting sun. So this is important. Couple different reasons. We look at what house your sun is in. That's the very first thing we look at in a solar return, because this house is going to tell us the opportunity for growth and development. This is going to be an area of focus for you in this year. Okay. So two things we look at. Number one is, where is the sun? The sun is always natally going to be in the third house because that's where it was when you were born, right? In the third house here. We looked at that in your birth chart. The transiting sun, though, is in the 12th house. I don't know if you can see that, but this is the, wow. She's like, oh, in the 12th house. So this 100% tells me there's some stuff going to happen this year. Some good stuff. It might not always feel good, but it's going to be good. Okay.
Well, what's the 12th house? Can you tell everybody what the 12th house is?
I was just going to tell you that is the house of the subconscious. Mm-hmm. This is the hidden self. This is the self that exists outside of our physical everyday reality. This is the unconscious mind. This is the subconscious patterns, the habits. This is things from the past. This is things you haven't dealt with. This is, you're like, oh, this can be the house of self-undoing. Okay. But let me also tell you the positive of this house. This is the house of healing. This is the house of spiritual realization. This is the house of divine connection. This is a beautiful spiritual growth house. So automatically, when I saw where your sun was, I was like, dang, girl, you're going to transform this year.
I feel like
this is the 8th house and the 12th house are houses of transformation. Mm-hmm. These are things we don't see. And with the 12th house, my number one recommendation for you is to make sure that you have people in your life who can spot things out that you cannot see.
My blind spots.
100%, because you cannot see them. And they're going to either come to your consciousness because the sun is the conscious. So we're dealing with conscious, subconscious here.
Yeah.
So they're going to start to come up, and you've got a lot of support, I know, of people who can help you work through these. But there's things that you're like, you won't even be able to see, even though there are some conscious things coming to light. Any questions before I move on?
No, but I'm just laughing because I see the 8th house is up there and it has something in there too. I don't know which one that is. Is that you? I don't know what planet that is.
This up here?
On the left-hand side.
Oh, you're looking at your natal 8th.
On the very outer ring where the sun's in the 12th chart, there's one planet over in the 8th house. And you said the 8th house is transformation too. So
this one here, this is the one you're talking about?
Your mouse disappeared. I can't see your mouse.
Okay, so if we're looking at the left of the chart.
Yes, left-hand side.
Okay, that is actually your south node.
My south node?
It's the south node. It's not your particular south node. It's the south node. I should correct my verbiage there. The south node for the collective. It's the transiting south node.
So everybody's going to have some transformation. You're welcome, people.
Well, there's a huge shift happening with our nodes this year. They're moving signs, which is huge. Okay, huge. That's another thing we need to talk about, like in April when that happens. But that's a big thing. But we've been in a lot of transformation, which I think we all can attest to. Okay, so the second thing we look at is what's going on with the sun, because the sun we're looking at a solar return, right? If we're looking at a lunar return, we look at the moon. So we're looking at the sun. What else is going on with the sun? So we know it's in the 12th house, which is the house of the unconscious. Now we're going to look at how it's interacting with some of these natal planets. So a couple of things we have right off the bat is that this particular sun is what's called square the ascendant. So the ascendant is, remember from your birth chart, is that horizon, right? The ascendant is the sign of our rising sign. It's how we see the world. It's how we want the world to see us. So our sun is making what's called a hard aspect, a square to this ascendant. And so this right off the bat tells me that you are going to have some competitive energy, because a square tends to be like, I like to look at it as boxing. Like you're in the match. The two planets are boxing it out. Their energies are fighting each other. So think about you, like how you see the world and how you want to see the world, and your consciousness at battle. So for one, dealing with other people in a competitive energy, trying to dominate others or having others dominate you. There may even be some people feeling threatened. And I'm going to say this in a way that, because as you're growing this year, Jen, because this whole solar return reading, I can tell you, is about you making some major, major shifts in your life. And by you doing that, some people are not going to be happy.
Yeah.
Some people are going to be like, you've always been this way, Jen. Why are you acting this way now? Like, my favorite words, you've changed. I hate those words. Okay. I don't hate much, but I dislike those words, because we should be changing and we should be evolving, but people don't understand that. Right. And so what happens is you are growing and you are changing and you are transforming into this beautiful person who you're like, I'm finally here. And people are like, what is going on with her? And so people could feel threatened by you taking your power back, by you owning some things that you maybe haven't in the past. We've also got, you're like, see, I told you, your nodes. If we look at your nodes, so your natal nodes, right? This is your natal south node and your natal north node.
We can't see the mouse anymore. I don't know how it disappeared.
I don't know.
Oh, there we go. It's back. My mouse has to be on the screen in order for it to show.
Oh, that was weird. I clicked on it too, so maybe
okay, maybe it was you then.
Okay, both of us combined. So this is your north node natal, and this is your south node natal. So they're
Okay.
opposite each other. Okay. They're always
Yep.
opposite each other. So your sun with these guys, they are making what's called really beautiful connections. So it's sextile your south node, and it's trine your north node. So what do these two things mean? Well, for one, the sextile also tells me that there's going to be problems in relationships where it's going to be so intense. And it's going to be so intense because they need to be resolved. They're ready to be resolved. So this year, 100% is about you resolving things with people, with relationships, especially the ones that have been the most challenging for you. There is some resolution, some healing that is happening. I'm going to also caution you, because of this south node sextile, is to avoid manipulation. Avoid the negative way of getting what you want, because people are not going to like what you're doing. And it can be really easy to maneuver a situation so that it can work in our favor. But make sure you're doing it from a positive light and not a negative way, if you get what I mean.
I think so. Like intentions and ulterior motives, right?
They're 100%.
Hidden agendas.
Hidden agendas, 100%.
Yeah.
Think of it as that Scorpio energy. Sometimes Scorpio can have that very like hidden agenda. So just be careful of that. The other thing, though, that is really beautiful with this, and this is probably why there may be some of those power struggles, is that sun in that north node is opening you up with opportunities to bring you into alignment with your mission, alignment with your purpose, because your north node, remember, is where you're going. It's the evolution that your soul is asking for in this life. It is where your purpose and mission reside. So if we look at it from that sense, and being in communion with the sun, your consciousness, there are opportunities this year that are just going to open you up to just really align with that mission, to really align with what you're here to do. And as I said before, make sure that you are open to people helping you, guiding you, because they're going to help steer you in the right direction. I know you're really strong. I know that you can do it. I know all that. However, my recommendation for you is to allow people to help you steer. Allow people to help you steer. This also gives you a really good like bubble. I want to say it's almost like a Jupiter bubble of fortune, of good fortune. So the people and the opportunities are going to be there for you. Now, are you going to take them? Again, this is that free will. The opportunities are always there. Are we seeing them? Are we open? The other thing, if you've resisted leadership in the past, it's your opportunity now to shine again, to step back into that. And you will even feel like, this is what I'm meant to be. This is what I've been meaning to be doing all this time. Like you may even start to feel that. Don't resist the leadership positions. Don't resist. This year of all years, don't resist it, because it's going to give you those opportunities and those people to help guide you and steer you.
Interesting. All right. So just if you're joining us, we have a contest going on. So just hashtag what I learned is, or I learned, and then add something that you've learned so far, just in general. And Danie will be giving away one free solar return reading to someone that comments, which is super exciting. And so just to recap real quick, in case you join us late, the solar return is basically when you have your birthday and what the forecast is for your next year specifically based off of your birth chart, which is based off of what time, date, and location that you were born. And some things that you can learn by your solar return is what challenges might be coming up so that you can be prepared and navigate, or just know that, like, you know, things are going to happen and then pass by and they'll be okay. You can, what else were we talking about earlier that you've already covered?
I think you've covered it.
Well, so far I feel like there's a lot of challenges on mine.
Okay, just wait.
It's all growth. It's growth.
I was just gonna say,
growth, right? So let's perspective it there.
I was gonna say this, like this. I mean, you could look at this and be like, "Oh man," right? But
I'm like, bring
when
it
we,
on.
but when we go through challenges, don't we grow?
Yeah.
Don't we learn something?
Yeah.
Right? It changes things for us. And for you, it's going to change for the good. I mean, you've got some other things with Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, which tends to be our biggest our wounds, right? Chiron again. These are both planetary bodies because they're not actually they're asteroids, they're not actual planets, but they're about our wounds. And it's like it's time to heal. Like I'm a big advocate of healing before you're like people want to manifest. I want to manifest this and I want this and I want like great. But have you healed this other stuff over here?
Yeah.
Because you are not in the energy in the space to attract what you truly desire. Because we're always manifesting, right? You can manifest whatever, but you're manifesting the energy that you're in right now. So it's like this year's like, Jen, let's clear this stuff up because this is coming for you. This is what you desire. This is what you're ready for. Like you're ready to step into it. And I feel it and you feel it. Let's make sure that we're not that we're closing off our throat chakra. Let's make sure that we're speaking our truth. Let's make sure that we're showing up as our best self, as our authentic self, right? Definitely can be some power struggles in here because as you're asserting your natural true nature, people are not going to like it.
Right.
And that can definitely be a challenge. Like you mentioned to me before we hopped on this call, right? It's like, is it boundaries, right? Is it boundaries that I'm having to set now? And that, yes, right?
Yes, it is.
That's exactly what it is. So, okay, so let's get to some of the other stuff. Because any questions on that though before we move on?
No, it's all good things. I mean, I feel like I was hoping that this would all happen before I turned 40. And now that I'm turning 40 and I look at where I am currently and I'm like, okay, it's this year. Like I truly feel like this is and this is not anything that you've said yet, but just my own intuition is like, this is a very pivotal, monumental, life-changing year for me.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So here's some good things. Now I want you to write this date down because this date, there's a couple dates I'm going to give you, but this date in particular, June 13th, 14th, the moon will be at the degree of 28 degrees Taurus. This is significant because this is actually when your sun is going to be transiting or will be in place at that same degree that your moon is in this transit, in this solar return. So if we come down here and look at where your moon's at, and it's kind of like, what the heck did Danie just say? So when you're
it's like, wait, what? I need a minute to process that. Okay.
What we look at on a solar return, this is what we call matters of the moon day. So matters of the moon include your emotional well-being, relationships with women, and like home family type stuff. So if you've got a good home family relationship, this might be a really nice day. If you've got some challenges there, this could be a little bit challenging. This is why I say this, because wherever you're at, right, this could be one of those. So this is a significant date in those matters. So we look at where in your solar return where the moon is, and the moon is right here in Taurus at 28 degrees. So we look at when is the sun going to be in Taurus 28 degrees. That's the day, and that's the day that I gave you, June 13th, 14th. That is where the matters of the moon will be will be emphasized and really relevant to you. So as I said, relationships with women, your emotional well-being, home, family, roots. Even if you were looking at doing some release work, because I know you do release work, right? Release work around some of those issues would be a good day to do it. Okay. Next, the next thing we look at is what is the in your transit chart. So let me look at just the transit chart. So this is just the planets that were the orange planets, okay? Looks a little bit different, but this is the orange planets. This is just looking at the orange planets. We look at the ascendant here, what sign this is and what planet rules that sign. So we're looking here at Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Neptune. So in this chart, you can see Neptune right here, right? Let's go back to this both chart. And we can see it down here, right? This is the ascendant, and we have Neptune right here. So it was in Pisces, as we saw in the other chart, and Neptune is right here. So this tells me that Neptune is going to play a huge, huge role in your life this year. Neptune is our planet. It rules the 12th house again. So this is the unconscious. It's also the most spiritual sign out of all the zodiac signs. So this is a lot of spirituality in here. There's a lot of healing in here. There's a lot of letting go. There's like that shedding, like endings. The 12th house is also endings, which Neptune is all about endings. And it is currently in transiting your 3rd house, which is the house of communication. You see why when we were talking earlier about how the challenging people and the competitiveness and potential confrontations with people, this is the other reason why. Neptune is here to end those things, to shed those things. So with Neptune in your 3rd house, and I want to make a point here, is that Neptune it's one of the further planets out. So it coming around, like we see our sun, it goes around the zodiac sign like every year, right? That's our birthday. We also see the moon. It goes around every month, 30 days. It's fast. The Neptune takes 164 years to go full circle. So we generally will not see like a Neptune return. Maybe not now, maybe in the future we will. But right now, we don't live to 164 years old. So we don't generally see a Neptune return. So I say this because Neptune moves really slowly. So Neptune is actually going to be in this house for the next 8 years. It's actually looked it up. It's not going to move till 3030. So let me tell you a little bit about where Neptune is here. Neptune in your 3rd house, and this has been happening for a while because he's been in there for a bit. This affects your ability to understand and to be understood. Neptune clouds things. It makes things like hard to see. It's like, we know the water. If we were looking to a lake or a river, like we know there's probably stuff down there, but we can't see it, right? That's exactly what Neptune does. We know there's stuff down there, but we can't see it. The other thing I like to say is it's like rose-colored glasses. It's like you just see everything from this one perspective, like everything's good, everything's great, and it's not, right? So there can be a little bit of a deception here that everything may sound good, but it's not good. It may look good, but it's not good. This is a hard time dealing with facts, figures, like logic. It's clouded. It's not clear. And so you could get lost in that dreaminess, in that imagination, and not being able to really have a firm like yes or no, right? Things that are boring to you are freaking challenging as hell. You're like, what the hell? Like you don't want to do those things. You want to be in that. I think I gave you, like, we were on Voxer, and what did I tell you? Like, go do what is fun.
Yeah.
This is why. This is exactly why. You don't think I pulled up your chart and was like, let me see what's going on? That's exactly what I did. And I'm like, go do what you love, because you're fighting it right now. You're trying to do the hard stuff. You're trying to do the boring stuff, and you don't want to do it.
I just really need a virtual assistant, like, for free right now. Is anybody out there that just wants to be a part of something cool?
Put it out there.
We can exchange. I'll get you something. I don't know. But yeah, because like I love doing these videos, but all the backhand work of it, like getting the blogs up and writing all the stuff, I'm like,
I'm with you. I love doing videos. I hate writing. Hate it. That's why I think I messaged you. You're like, give me some verbiage for our thing. And I'm like, I'll just speak it to you.
That was perfect. And then I was able to just grab some bullet points. That's all I needed. So it worked out great.
It did.
It did.
But this is the thing. So what I'm going to recommend, especially for the next continued 8 years, because the other thing too is Neptune goes retrograde, right? So it also has its period of retrograde. So it stays in a house for quite a long time. So again, another 8 years. Just, I want you to keep this in mind, because if don't expect things to be like easy, as far as like, I'm good with doing the boring stuff, right? Or figuring things out, that facts and figures, right? Like, don't, like, find people to help you with that. Like, don't try and rack your brain trying to do these things, because you're going up uphill battle, right? But allow your imagination to have an outlet. I don't know if you do that now, but I'm going to recommend some way, whatever is that creative energy for you, make sure it has that outlet, because it's craving it. It needs to express itself in some way and not get caught up in here, not get buried.
You're like the 10th person to tell me that within the month. Like, it's crazy. It's like, you need to really be doing something creative. Like, your creativity is like, and I'm like, okay. So that's interesting. That just goes to show how it all connects together. Like, I see the connectedness of that.
Okay, the other thing I'm going to say, just because you said that, I'm going to pull back in your natal chart here, your birth chart. Your 5th house, which is the house of creation, is in Aries. So you've got to be passionate about it. It's got to be something you're passionate about. All right, like, whatever, that's stupid.
Yeah.
So find the passion. Find the passion.
Okay.
Find the
So
passion
my
in what you
question is, what am I passionate about in creativity?
Yeah, but the other thing is you've got Chiron there. So Chiron's,
Which is so funny, because I was telling our friend Melissa, I was like, I feel like I have a block in the creative
do.
thing.
You do. You've got Chiron. You should do some healing around that.
Okay. Well, if you have any recommendations, I'm open. However, maybe the Akashic record clearing that
I
I'm
was just
going
gonna
to be
say that
doing is going to
the
help with that.
Akash can help with that for sure.
Awesome.
For sure.
If anybody
All right.
doesn't know, because I did not know what the Akashic records were, can you just tell something like real quick? Because we mentioned it earlier, and I like to usually define things, and because when I started this, I had never heard of the Akashic records until a couple years ago. So, just can you give a definition of what it is?
Yeah. So Akashic Records is the infinite possibility, the energy of the infinite possibility. So when our soul is incarnated, it records, the Akashic Records record every single word, deed, thought, action that we've ever done in our entire soul's life. So any advice, any recommendations, any possibilities, right? We can use that information to help figure out what we're going to do. So as you said, I'll give an example of how you could use the Akash for this particular thing. You've got a block here with Chiron. Now I can tell you about the block with Chiron in your 5th house and why it's blocking your creativity, but there's some healing because it's Chiron, which is the wounded healer. So there's some healing that needs to be done. And I would say it's probably, I'm just receiving this from my own Akashic records, that it's in a past life. It's not this lifetime. So there's a wound somewhere in a past life that the Akashic records could help you find out what that past life wound is, heal that so that you can move forward, which is so beautiful. The Akashic records. And just so you know, I think we've mentioned this in the past, and I don't ever say this, but I'm also an Akashic Records reader and practitioner. And so every time I do a reading or a session with somebody, I open the Akashic Records, my own, and then of our session, of our time. And I set the intention to receive the information that is relevant for the person at this time. So this is why I just said it's not about this past life, because I have the session records open. I am getting advice on like, nope, it's this. So just so you know, I want to put that out there as well.
Well, oh my God, when you said that it's something from a past life, I got head to toe. Like, I still have like the chills, like goose pimples, bumps, whatever people call them. Like, I wish you could see them on the camera, but like head to toe, it was like, yes, my body screaming, yes. Like, yeah. So
you need
stay
to do
tuned
a
for
healing
that,
around
people. Danie does that. She does that. So she is available. And then I am actually.
You have another person, right?
I just want to say this, real quick. Like, I'm doing this reading with another person because although Danie does it, the universe must feel that I'm more aligned with this other person. So like, not every person, that's why I'm collaboration over competition is because not every person is the right fit for you. Like if you're thinking about getting healing done or astrology, like if you like Danie and you feel called to her, there's something there. But if you're like, no, but then you see this other astrologer and you're like, dude, like there's something there. Like, and we are all here to use our gifts to help each other. And there's a purpose that so many people do the same type of work because we vibe differently. We have different energetics, like we have different contracts. And so I just want to tangent on that real quick.
No, you're great. I agree. 100% agree. I know I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. Like,
We're right.
There's great people. There's great people out there. Yeah,
exactly.
It's amazing.
Okay. That was a great side note. So thank you for the creativity confirmation about the blocks. I kept Melissa, I was like, I'm doing all this work, like all this healing work, and I still like it's still there. And so that really confirmed it. That's so validating. And then I love that like you just got the hit that so I feel like this this reading I'm doing is happening in real time tomorrow. So by the time this airs, like everything could be different.
You will already have had it. Exactly. I love it.
People.
Okay, so let's look at, so again, Neptune, right? Neptune's playing a significant role this year for you. Neptune is in your 12th house. Again, this is the house of unconscious. So the Neptune rules the 12th house. So it's at home here, right? So this tells me that spiritual self, that intuitive self, that it's ready to like come out even more. But you've got to deal with the past and let it go. So there's things that you're holding on to, and I'm like you're holding on to, you need to let go, especially this year.
Do you want to type it in the chat for me? Like if stuff's coming through, I mean, if it's not super, if it's really personal, just tell me separately. If it's not too personal, you can say it on here.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
You just need to, just let go. Just let go. Okay. All right.
Well, that could be so much stuff. Like so much stuff.
There, yeah.
I can feel up my stomach right now as you say it. Ooh, and my sacral chakra.
Okay, the womb. Interesting.
I'll keep
there's something. There's some creation ready to be birthed.
Yes. Okay.
So that's the womb energy. Okay, so I want you to pay attention to Neptune's retrograde period, which is going to be June 28th through December 4th, because Neptune is your planet this year. You want to pay attention to its transits. You want to pay attention to what it's doing. And for you, it's going to be obviously in the 3rd house. Currently on this natal, in the solar return reading in the 12th house. But this period is going to be a significant retrograde period for you. Now, remember, any retrograde period is re. So reflect, relook, revisit, return. That's what a retrograde period is. And so for Neptune, it's a time for you to come inside and reflect and reevaluate, rediscover, right? That second half of the year is going to be a very significant time of inner reflection for you. Things that are going on in that time, as far as things that you're doing, I would definitely make sure you're tuning into your spiritual practices, that you're like daily, like journaling or connecting to however you do that. I would 100% make sure you're doing that especially during the 6-month period. You're going to receive some major, major insights. The other thing that I would say, a couple of different things, is I looked at some major transits that are happening for you with Neptune, because again, Neptune is your planet. And so we're doing a solar return reading for you. If I did it like for me, right? Mine's in May. If I look at mine, my planet might be Mercury, right? So Mercury might be my planet that I'm going to focus on for the year. So this is why this is individual for you.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that, just to keep reiterating, because people hop on and off and whatever. And so they need to know, like, this is for me specifically, but you can win your own by commenting what I learned is with the hashtag, and then just your epiphany, your breakaway. We've talked about a lot of things. So maybe go back and watch the recording, because like
I'd watch the whole thing. There's a lot of a lot of good drops in here that a lot of good golden nuggets. Always. Okay, so Neptune and your moon, they're going to be opposite on 2 particular dates, which is May 20th and August 6th. This is a very emotionally sensitive time for you, okay? where your feelings are kind of confused, misunderstood, and people may misunderstand you. So I wouldn't do anything too major or important on those days, especially when you're interacting with other people. The other thing is into your intuition and your more psychic abilities will be on high these 2 days. So again, use those to your advantage. Some other really good days is when Neptune's going to be conjunct your natal Neptune. And this are, and I'll give you these dates too, but September 15th, October 25th, January 11th, and then February 15th of next year. Now, Neptune conjunct Neptune is actually a very rare transit. And so when you have these transits in your lifetime, these are hands down naturally born mystics. So you, and I know this about you just from knowing you as long as I have now for just this little amount of time, that you will sacrifice your own interest for the benefit of others or the world at large. And so this is something that's naturally within you. Now, this energy is coming through again this year, and it's particularly on those dates when they're in exact conjunction. So pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to the things that you're receiving, especially around these days, because these are giving you some really good insights to help you in your mission, in your purpose, in what you're here to do, especially from that mystic healer type. I don't know if you call yourself that in any way, but you actually are. You want, you know what I mean? You're receiving things, and it's going to help you on this journey. So just pay attention to those in particular.
You calling me a mystic healer?
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. No, I don't call myself that. I call myself a soul guide and a connector.
Yeah, I know, but you are. You're naturally one.
I feel like I'm not your traditional healer. Like, you're not going to come have a one-on-one healing appointment with me, but I'm like the mother of all the healers, and that's how I'm the connector. So I heal people by connecting them. Like, that's
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mystic healer. I'm a mystic healer. I like that.
You are.
It sounds really
cool. Are. It does. It does sound
mysterious.
Cool. All right. So a lot of people don't do this, but I do because I feel like it has relevance to your solar return. And that is your lunar returns. I'm really big on the moon, if you don't know. And maybe it's because I'm a Cancer moon. Who knows? But I'm really big on the moon. And so I did look at your lunar returns. And there are two that I want to call to your attention in particular, because they are, for one, in relation with Neptune. Mm-hmm. The other one is just because it's in interaction with your nodes. And again, the nodes are your purpose and mission. And so I want to call those out really quick. So first date is going to be your June lunar return, which is June 8th. And this is where we're going to be looking at Neptune. Neptune is actually going to be square Neptune in this, which means, again, they're going to be at battle. So this time, I want you to be really careful, because you're going to be questioning everything, your goals, your ideas, your ideals, your dreams, your expectations, questioning it all. And with this particular period, because this will be for that month, right? For this particular period, there could be a possibility that you're like, F it, I almost said it, F it, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm done. And I want you to just be cautious of that, okay? So this is why I'm giving you this heads up.
So I shouldn't throw in the towel?
Don't throw in the towel.
No, I don't think I would throw in the towel.
Just go to your help. Go to your support. That's going to be a really big thing for you.
Damn, June has a lot of stuff going on, man.
I'm telling you.
Which is crazy. Do you have the pattern app?
The pattern?
Yeah. So I'll just mention it's this app that is it's supposed to be it takes your birth chart and all these things, and then it gives you little readings or whatever, but it's not the same as this, not the same.
Yeah.
But it does say that June is new beginnings and moves, which is funny. So I'm like,
I could totally see that.
Well, it would make sense because they use all your birth information. And so I'm like, you've just validated that, I was already June's going to be an interesting month. And then it's
all these different things.
14th and June 28th and June. And I'm like,
Oh yeah. Beginning of the Neptune retrograde. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of things in there. The other one I want to bring, the final one I want to bring in here is the August lunar return, which is August 1st. And this one's with Libra. So we look at Venus here, and Venus will be in the 8th house at this time. And again, the house of transformation. We also have some involvement with Venus and your nodes. And this is where it's really like, if there were a better time, like I know we talked about your book date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a launching of something, this would be the period.
I'm all. Can you guys keep the weight out? That's funny.
This would be the period, because it's there. Venus is going to be conjunct your north node, which is beauty, right? It's actually money as well. Venus, a lot of people don't know that, but Venus rules money. It rules our material things, our material world. It also rules our beliefs. And so, like not our subconscious beliefs, but our core beliefs, right?
Okay.
So when we look at it from that standpoint, there's that transformation energy of the 8th house, but it's also conjunct your north node, which is that mission, that purpose, that evolution. So that would be a very beautiful time for you to put something out.
Okay, good to know.
Very beautiful time. All right. Those are the things that we look at for a solar return. So my overall kind of overview or consensus that I would say that I'm getting from all of this information that we've just kind of gone through is that this is definitely a year of you healing so that you can step onto your path. And I'm not saying that it's going to take you the whole year to heal, because that's not what I see.
Yeah.
I feels like that healing is coming, and then bam, it's like, it's time to go.
And then June. And then
I'm feeling like, and based on what we're seeing, is June, right? And
or before June, yeah.
Right. Maybe even before June, where you're ready to like hit the ground running in June. Who knows? That's up to you. And again, that's up to the decisions that you choose to make after this, right? I know you're doing the Akashic Records reading. I know that's going to be a beautiful change for you.
Yeah.
But there, and anything else that you choose to do from here on, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the healing.
This is going to be a great year. You owning yourself, you owning your voice, you owning who you are, and really putting that out there is key. Is the connector, right? Like, you've got to be able to put yourself out there in a very big way. And there's probably some things, and you know what they are, that have blocked you or have stopped you in the past. And I think the more, there's a couple other things in here that I would say, the more you share your wounds, because there's a lot of energy with Chiron in this reading as well. I didn't talk about it too much, but there is some really interesting things with Chiron. And so, especially in your lunar returns. So I would say, like, the more you're vulnerable about these wounds and about this healing, the more you're going to be able to do the thing that you want to do. Because people are going to understand, like, they're going to see and they're going to understand. And I know that's super scary to like share our wounds. But the more you do that, the more you're going to be seen as somebody who is like, they're my guide. I can trust them. They understand it, right? They're not just speaking from the top of the hill. They've been through it. It's like the hermit card in the intro.
Yeah.
Like, they've been through it. And now they're shining the light to show me that I can too. And that's definitely what I see this year being for you.
Yep. I gotcha. I feel that too. Oh man, lots of good stuff.
Any questions I can answer for you, Jen?
Yeah. Am I going to make a lot of money this year? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's up to you, but I wouldn't say that right off the bat. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just because Saturn has been restricting you the past couple of years. Really restricting you. So Saturn's right here in your second house. So
I lost the mouse again.
It doesn't. Let me click on it.
Oh, there we are. Okay.
So Saturn is right here.
Okay.
In your second house. Once Saturn moves out of your second house, which you've got some time, then things will open up for you. But not until then. Sorry.
When does Saturn move out?
Let me see. We're about here. You probably have at least 4 to 6 months.
Okay. I can deal with it. I can deal with that. It's just, man, starting your own business is a lot. It's hard. I don't want to say it's hard. It's new. I don't want to say it's hard. It's
not
new.
hard.
And it's been one of the most challenging things I have done in my life. Selling my stuff, travel the world, not challenging. Just did it. Felt called to start a business. I'm like, a lot of learning curves, a lot. Plus add in all the healing aspects into it that have to take place for those wounds and stuff. So look at me. I'm already starting to share my journey. I'm pretty open about that. Yeah. Figuring out what you want to do when you're not a coach and like coming into the world as a connector and like I don't really know a lot of people that are connectors, like in the sense that I am. I mean, there are some, but yeah. So it's been interesting. We'll say that.
That's for sure.
That was amazing. So if anybody's interested, I think, again, we should just talk about the package. Danie put together a really, really awesome package that is like a VIP, very highly discounted package for what you get. You get a birth chart reading, which is on another video that we did. You would get this personalized solar return reading or the astrological return. But we're still so new in the year that I feel like you could pull someone's chart and then just go from there. So, and then what else is in it again?
The 3 months of lunar return readings, which tells you your emotional energy for the month. Like we talked about those significant month lunar returns for you.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Like I would give you like a full reading on what that looks like. Cause I mean, I give you a little bit to look at, but there's like more that I can look at for that. And then also a tarot reading with my Love Shadow Work Tarot. So yes, really cool package. It's $333, I believe, right? $333.
Yep.
And highly discounted.
Still of a deal.
Yeah, it's a hell of a deal. I'll just say that. We actually have some readings coming up this week from people that have already got that, and I'm excited.
I know. I should have like asked them to pop on this and talk about what they got from it. We should make that a separate one because I think it's really cool when you see my reading. This was my personal reading. The other one was my personal birth chart reading, but you can see what it's going to look like for you and how it could be. And then we could get other perspectives as well. So maybe
let me ask you before you pop off, because this is something that I always ask everybody after every single reading. Like, what are you taking away from this reading?
Be very wary of June. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it.
Be open. Like, I already know that. Like, I feel like everything that you confirmed today is stuff that has come up in all my other readings, which to me is just a validation that we are so freaking connected and everybody's gifts are there for a reason. And they're all like part of that North Node or North Star, like telling us where to go. And it's like, be vulnerable, be open to help. Like that's one of my trauma wounds is like being a lone wolf and I can do it all myself. And I don't trust anybody and I don't want people to help me because you're not going to do it the way that I want it done. And I've worked a lot on it, but there's always more work to do, right? Because as soon as you let go of something, you come to this new level and then
new level, new devil.
Exactly. I was waiting for you to say that. Just the creativity thing like that. It's just all validation, really. It's like I'm able to look at, so I'm going to make a separate live about this, but I'll just talk about it here is like, I'm not where I thought I would be when I turned 40, right? Like nowhere near where I thought I'd be when I turned 40. Even making all of these like goals and working towards these goals of what I wanted my life to look like when I turned 40. And so I feel like 40 is actually a gift. And this is a gift because it's going to be a huge shift in transition. And on the other side of this is when the other like life goals that I want to have in position will be like falling into place. I don't know if that makes sense, but the creativity block, that's been huge. Like that has been such a big message. And I have felt that way for a long time. And the dates will be really interesting. Would be really cool is if like next year we set it up and we like go over my notes and then we reflect back, right? Because a lot of times you don't see things because of the blind spots or because you're living it, you don't see it until it's hindsight. So it'd be really cool if we do another one of these next year. Make it an annual tradition.
Annual tradition. I love it.
Yeah. Just be open.
The
be
lunar
open.
returns are really cool because like it's the 30-day window. Instead of like waiting the whole year, you're
Yeah.
looking at it every 30 days, which is really cool.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe we should set one of those up then, since that is part of the package and people could see what that looks like too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So my biggest takeaway is just be open and available for the ride, I guess. Like, yeah. Allow people to help me and guide me. That's really a challenge. So that's very good information. And I'm ready for the transformation. I mean, I always am. I'm always working to release and heal. And the communication piece is very scary. The leadership piece, like, I feel like I know that I've always been born to be a leader and I've always been a leader naturally. But I feel like there's a really big piece of that. And it's scary at the same time because, you know, I got wounds, I got trauma in my nervous system, and I'm a fight, flight, or freeze or fawn. I'm like a fawn freeze, like like I can have hard conversations, but you come at me with conflict, and I'm like, and then like an hour later, I'm like, I should have said this, and I should have said this, you know. So that scares me, and that keeps me small from stepping up to be a leader and the communication piece. So this
I
year,
was just gonna say that.
yeah,
So that's your leadership right there.
yeah,
That's what needs to be healed. A
hmm
lot of what needs to be healed so that you can step into that in a big way.
yeah. And I'm happy to be a leader of people. It's just when you haven't trusted yourself for a long time for so many reasons, you know, and you're questioning all your own decisions. How can you be like, what's the word I'm looking for? Confident in leading other people, you know?
Mhm.
So sometimes in chaos, I can take charge and be like, in this, and this, and this. Sometimes in chaos, I'm just like, I don't know what to do. And that scares me. So
Yeah.
anyways, that's that. It was very, very
Yay.
insightful. And yes, I'm going to take a lot. I do take a lot away from this, and I will set myself up the best that I can. So getting a solar return helps you to kind of see like how to use those best energies, how to see what some of the challenges might be ahead, and to best prepare yourself. Like those challenges are there for a reason. There's no avoiding them, right?
Nope.
But it's like if you're gonna go camping in the rain, you want to prepare yourself the most to be protected and to have the support of all the tools and whatever you need to have the
Yep.
best camping trip in the rain. So
Exactly.
don't ask me if that's the analogy that came to me, but
I love it. It's a good one.
so yeah, well, thank you for the solar return reading. And then if anybody's interested, I'll have the links. They should be in the comments, not the comments, sorry, the caption.
Description.
Yes, the caption where the video is at the top. Scroll up and then click see more, and they'll be in there. I'm going to put everything in a blog as well, since we're doing this ahead of time though.
Sweet.
Yay! I'm so excited. Danie, always a pleasure. I love you lots. You are freaking amazing. Highly recommend a reading with her and take advantage of the package that she's put together. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have an amazing day.
Bye.